Welcome everybody. We are discussing the chapter Plant Kingdom, chapter 3 of class 11th biology. Till now we have discussed classification system of plant kingdom characteristics, reproduction, economic importance of algae, classification of algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, and today in this session we will discuss about the gymnosperms. So what are gymnosperms? In my previous session, I have told you that the plant kingdom is divided into cryptogams and phanerogams. The phanerogams are divided into the gymnosperms and angiosperms. Both gymnosperm and angiosperm are the vascular plants. Gymno means naked, sperma means seed. So these are the plants where the seeds are present, but the seeds are not enclosed by any ovary wall, or they are not present inside any fruit. Okay, so they are exposed both before and after the fertilization. So as you know that in a plant, the ovule develops into a seed and the ovary of the flower develops into a fruit, and the fruit contains the seeds. But here the ovary wall is not there, so the ovary will not develop into the ovary like structure is not there, only ovule is there, so the seeds are present and they are open seeded, they are exposed. Okay, so the seeds that develop post fertilization are not covered. After fertilization, post fertilization means after fertilization, and before fertilization also the seeds are not covered. So the gymnosperm includes the medium sized trees or tall trees and shrubs. I will show you some of the examples, and the roots are generally tap root. Tap root means the root is elongated and it is tapering towards its apex, and the tap root system has primary, secondary root, and then root hairs are developed from the primary root. So that we'll discuss in details about the tap root and adventitious root in morphology chapter. So roots in some genera have fungal association in the form of mycorrhiza. Like in case of Pinus, the root is associated with the fungal hypha. So as you know, this is a kind of mutual relationship or symbiotic relationship between the fungal hypha and the roots of the big trees. And what is the advantage of this? The fungal hypha, due to its presence, makes the root of the tree profusely branched, so that very easily the minerals and water can be absorbed from the soil. But in other cases like cycas, the small specialized roots are present, that is called coralloid roots. So why they are coralloid? Because in these roots the nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria are present. So these bacteria, they remain in a symbiotic association with the root of the cycas, and they help in fixation of the nitrogen. Now the stems are unbranched as in case of cycas, or it may be branched as in case of Pinus or Cedros. The leaves may be simple or compound. Simple means the leaf lamina or blade is entire. Compound means the leaf lamina is dissected into leaflets. Okay. In cycas, the pinnate leaf persists for a few years. Pinnate means it is a type of compound leaf which remains. So once its leaf develops, it remains for many years. Okay. So that means the life of a leaf is very long. The leaves in gymnosperms are well adapted to withstand extreme temperature, humidity and wind. So that's why these plants can be grown in a harsh conditions, like you can see the cycas plant in dry condition. Okay, and because they have the capacity to withstand or resist the extremities of the temperature, humidity and wind. In conifers, the needle-like leaves are present, which reduces the surface area so that the rate of transpiration will be low. Their leaf is surrounded by thick cuticle and they have sunken stomata. So sunken stomata means the stomata are not well exposed, they are present in a cavity, because of which the water loss by transpiration is reduced. So here you can see one of the gymnosperm, the giant redwood tree, Sequoia, is one of the tallest tree species of gymnosperm. Yes, here you can see cycas. You can see the habitat of cycas. It can grow in dry condition, and this is the leaf, and here each one is a leaf. Each one is a leaf. The tree trunk is not branched. It is just like the coconut tree, but it is not as tall as the coconut tree. And this is usually kept in the garden as ornamental plant. So here you can see these are the leaves. So each one is a leaf, and once a leaf is formed, that remains for several years. Okay. Now in the root of the cycas, so here is the root of the cycas. If we will take the section of the root, transverse section of the root, we can see that the cyanobacteria are forming a few layers in the root, and they help in fixing the nitrogen, and such roots are called coralloid roots. Now mycorrhiza, I was telling about the mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza are found in the pinus. So this is the pine tree, and here you can see the mycorrhiza. Here very clearly you can see the root is associated with the fungal hypha. These are the fungal hypha. Because of the presence of this fungal hypha, the root hairs are profusely branched and they reach each and every corner of the soil, and they absorb the nutrients as well as water very efficiently. So it helps the tree to absorb the nutrient and water very efficiently from the soil. So there are four groups of gymnosperms, that is conifers. You can see here conifers, they are cone-like shape and they are generally found in the cold region. Then next cycas, this is cycad. So here you can see each one is a leaf. This is leaf, cycas leaf. Okay, then ginkgo, then gnatophytes. This is gnatophyte. This is also found in the dry condition. Okay. And the speciality of this gymnosperm is that they are vascular plants. They have xylem and phloems. They can produce seeds, but they don't have flowers and fruits. And the seeds are contained on a cone or hard berries, as in case of pines. So alternation of generation, here we will study the life cycle. Also shows alternation of generation, means there are two phases in its life cycle, that is sporophyte and gametophyte, and the sporophyte reproduces asexually to give rise to gametophyte. The gametophyte reproduces sexually to give the sporophyte. So the two generations are alternating with each other, hence it is called alternation of generation. So the alternation of generation is shown in its life cycle. Okay, so let us discuss the life cycle of gymnosperm, which is very important. The gymnosperms are heterosporous. So as in case of pteridophytes, in some pteridophytes we have studied that the sporophytes are heterosporous, means they can produce two different types of spores. The small spores are called microspores, and the large spores are called megaspores. But the spores are both the micro and megaspores are haploid in nature. The two kinds of spores are produced within sporangia, and the sporangia are borne on sporophyll. That means the leaf-like structure that bears the sporangia are called sporophyll, and the sporophylls are arranged spirally along an axis to form a compact cone-like structure that is called strobili, as I have shown you in case of Equisetum, that is Pteridophyta. The strobili bearing microsporophyll and microsporangia are called microsporangiate or male strobili. Okay, so the microsporophyll means the microsporangia containing leaves present in the strobili or the cone-like structure is called microsporangiate or male strobili, and the microspores develops into a male gametophytic generation which is highly reduced, very small in size, and it consists of only limited number of cells. Okay, so microspores are contained in microsporophyll. The microsporophylls are arranged in a strobili or cone that is called male strobili. The microspore develops into the male gametophytic generation, which is very small in size and consists of very limited number of cells. And this reduced gametophyte is called pollen grain. So as you know that pollen grains are seen in the angiosperms. The flowers produce the pollen grains. But here the flower is not producing the pollen grain. As you have studied that the anther is having the pollen grain, but here you can see the pollen grains are produced in the sporangia, microsporangia. Okay, the microspore develops into pollen grain. The pollen grain contains the male gamete. The cells of the pollen grain develops into male gamete. Hence, the pollen grain is called male gametophyte. Very, very important. The pollen grain itself is called male gametophyte, and pollen grains are very small in size. Okay. The development of pollen grain takes place within the microsporangia. That means the production of the pollen grain and its development takes place within the microsporangia. Now let us come to the megasporophyll and megasporangia. The leaf-like structure that contains the megasporangia are called the megasporophyll. The megasporophylls are spirally arranged on a cone, and that cone is called female strobili or macrosporangiate strobili. Okay. So here the male or female cone, that is the strobili, the male or female strobili may be present on the same tree as in case of Pinus, but in cycas, the male cone and the megasporophylls are born on different trees. So they may be the sporophyte may be heterosporous or it may be homosporous. The megaspore mother cell. So in the case of female strobili, the megasporangia is there. In the megasporangia, the mature cells are called megaspore mother cell. Now the megaspore mother cell after its maturity differentiates to form a mass of cell called nucellus. Okay, and the nucellus is a mass of cell at the center of which the egg cell is present. The nucellus is protected by an envelope, and now the whole structure is called ovule. Now let me again explain you what is ovule. In case of angiosperm, the ovule develops into seed. So here also the ovule develops into seed. But here where is the ovule located? Where is the ovule formed? The ovule is formed on a macrosporangiate or female strobili. So in the female strobili, in the macrosporangia, the mature cell, that is megaspore mother cell, differentiates to form a mass of cell called nucellus, which is then protected by a covering, and the nucellus, the covering along with the egg cell forms the ovule. The ovules are born on megasporophyll, as I said. So when the ovules are formed, they seems to be clustered on a cone. The megaspore mother cell, as I said, they divide meiotically to form 4 megaspores, and one of the megaspore enclosed within the megasporangium developing into female gametophyte. So here ovule is the female gametophyte that bears 2 or more archegonia or female sex organ. So let me clear you. So the megasporophyll contains the megasporangia. The megasporangia contains the megaspore mother cell. The megaspore mother cell divides when it divides first mitotically to form a mass of cell, that is called nucellus. Then a covering is formed around us. Then one of the megaspore mother cell divides meiotically to form 4 megaspore. Okay. Now one of these megaspore enclosed with the megasporangium develops into female gametophyte. That means other megaspore degenerates and only one megaspore remains active, and that remains in the ovule. Okay. So that gametophyte, the female gametophyte, the ovule contains 2 or more archegonia. As you know, the archegonia are the female reproductive or female sex organs. So the archegonia are present in the ovule. So 1 or 2 archegonia are present on the ovule. The multicellular female gametophyte is also retained with megasporangium. So that means the multicellular structure, that is ovule, also retained in the megasporangium. So here see, strobili, there are 2 types of strobili. One is male, which bears the microsporophylls, then female strobili bears the megasporophyll. The megasporophyll produces the microspores in the microsporangia. The megasporophyll produces the megaspore in the megasporangia. Then microspore develops into male gametophyte. Megaspore develops into female gametophyte. Okay. So here the female gametophyte remains in the megasporangia, but the male gametophyte, which is called pollen grain, are dispersed. They are carried away by wind or any other agent to the female gametophyte. Okay. And each female gametophyte bears 1 or 2 archegonia, which are the female sex organs. So here you can see the structure of a microsporophyll. So here this picture is the longitudinal. So here this is the cone. Okay. This is the male strobili. Here you can see the leaf-like structures called microsporophyll. This microsporophyll, if you take the section of microsporophyll, so the cone, you can see these are the microsporophyll, section of microsporophyll, and inside the microsporophyll, the microspore mother cells are present, which divides to form the male gametophyte. Okay, so here you can see, if you take one leaf-like structure, that is sporophyll, you can see this is the microsporangia. This is microsporangia. Okay, in the microsporangia, the pollen grains are formed, that is male gametophytes are produced, and after maturity it dehisces and releases. These are the dehisced microsporangia, or you can say the pollen grains. So here more clearly you can see how they are held. This is the structure, this is cap-like structure, and here are the microsporangia, and inside the microsporangia the pollen grains are present. Okay. Then female strobilules. Let us see, this is the longitudinal section of female strobilus. You can see that here these are the sporophylls and they contain the microsporangium. Each structure is called microsporangium. Now this microsporangium contains the microspore. This is in case of Selaginella. Okay, but here you can see the female strobili. If you take the section of female strobili, you can see that there is here you can see the megaspores which are produced from the megaspore, which will develop into the megaspore mother cell. So this cell will develop into the megaspore mother cell. Then the megaspore mother cell will develop or divide to produce the nucellus enclosed by a covering that will be called ovule, and at the ovule will be having 2 or 3 or sometimes 1 archegonia will be present, and this is the section of longitudinal section of a microsporangia which contains the microspore or pollen grains. So the matured microspores are called pollen grains. So let us discuss the life cycle of gymnosperm in details. So suppose this is a heterosporous twig. You can see this is the megasporangium and this is microsporangium. So the microsporangium, as I have said you, this microsporangium. So this is microsporophyll or male strobili. You can see this is the female strobili. The female strobili contains the megasporangium. Here is the section of the megasporangium, and here is the structure of the microsporangium. The microsporangium contains the pollen grains or male gametophyte which are called pollen grains. So when it dehisces, मतलब जब फट जाता है, then the pollen grains are released. So here are the pollen grains. Now come to the female strobili. In the female strobili, as you know, the ovule is present. So this is the structure of a ovule. So in the ovule, the ovule is having the archegonia, okay, and it has an integument, outer covering, and then here a mass of cell is present that is called nucellus. Now when the pollen grain falls on it, the pollen grain gradually germinates, and then the pollen grain contains the male gamete, and here is the egg cell. Okay, at the center the megaspore is here which develops into the egg cell. So here in the picture, in this picture you can see that the megaspore has been divided to form 2 archegonia here, and each archegonia is with egg cell, 1 egg. So now when the sperm or the, you can say the male gamete falls on it, here you can see the germinating pollen is about to reach the egg. So when it reaches the egg, they fuse, and after fertilization they form a zygote. So at a time in both the archegonia the fertilization may take place, or in one archegonia the fertilization may take place. So here after fertilization the zygote develops into a embryo, then this forms the seed. Okay, the structure forms the seed which contains the embryo. So now this seed is dispersed by any agent, that may be wind or it may be water or any other animals also. So it can be dispersed, and when it gets the sufficient, favorable condition, then it develops into a new plant. Then again the plant body, which is called sporophyte, is ready to develop into a gametophyte. So here the main plant body is sporophyte, which contains the gametophyte, which produces the gametophyte. The gametophytes are the ovule and the pollen grains, which are reduced in size. They produce the gametes. When the pollen grain falls on the ovule containing archegonia, the archegonia contains the egg, the pollen grain contains the male gamete fuses with the egg to form the zygote, then the zygote develops into the embryo, and the whole structure inside which the fertilization takes place develops into a seed. That means the ovule develops into a seed. Now the seed gives rise to another sporophyte. So here you can see very clearly the two phases are seen here in the life cycle, hence they show alternation of generation. So here you can see the difference between pteridophyte and gymnosperm. Gymnosperms are mostly trees, whereas pteridophytes are mostly herbs or shrubs. Gymnosperms can be grown in xerophytic condition. They can be grown in mesophytic, means where moisture content is more in the soil. The pteridophytes can be grown. Here the taproot system is there, here adventitious root is there. That means here the root is developed from the radicle, but here the root is not developed from the radicle, rather it is developed from the stem. Secondary growth means increase in girth of the, or you can say the lateral meristem is present, so secondary growth takes place, but here secondary growth is not there. That means there will be no increase in girth of the plant. And here ovule and seeds are present, but here ovule and seeds are absent. Here gametophyte is fully dependent on the sporophyte because it remains within the sporophyte. That is if it is a male gamete, then it remains in the gametophyte, that is the pollen grain, and the pollen grains are produced in the microsporangia. And the megasporangia, that is the ovule, contains the female gamete. The gametophyte and sporophyte in pteridophytes are two separate plants. Here pollen tube is formed because the pollen grain germinates, but here no pollen tube is formed. Here neck canal cells are absent, here neck canal cells are present. As you know, see in case of archegonia, I have shown you a diagram while discussing the pteridophytes. It is a flask-shaped structure. So flask-shaped region is called neck region, so that is called neck canal cell. That is a canal-like structure, neck canal cell, which is absent in the archegonia of gymnosperm. So these are the basic differences between gymnosperms and the pteridophytes. So I hope the life cycle of gymnosperm is clear to you, and in our next session we will be discussing the angiosperm, the most advanced plant. Okay. Thank you for watching the video.